Alrighty, guys, it is great to be with y'all on this Sunday evening, January 21st, 2024 edition of the show. So right now, we're going to talk about Ohio State. They have been absolutely on a tear. And what I think it is in college football and what's so interesting about it is all you need are a couple of wealthy boosters to step up, and then your program is going to rock. And right now, Ohio State, they land Julian Sayin, who's a top 3 quarterback in this class, according to many. I think that Julian Sayin is fine as a quarterback. I even think that Aaron Noland could even be a better player, but still, he's a very highly coveted quarterback, and receivers, when you're highly coveted, receivers are going to want to play with a highly coveted, accurate quarterback. This guy won the Elite 11 MVP, so a lot of football guys that are elite at really, I know I said Elite 11 a lot. These guys are very good at discovering quarterback. C.J. Stroud was in the Elite 11, Bryce Young, all of the high draft picks, pretty much like Caleb Williams, they all go through the Elite 11 process, and most of them are 5-star quarterbacks, Quinn Ewers. So Julian Sayin is a very accurate passer, a student of the game, and a guy that, sees, has pretty decent arm strength, but just tremendous touch over the football. So the guy could be a player at the college level. Again, I don't know how high that ceiling is. I probably have some quarterbacks ranked above Julian Sayin, but I at least think he's accurate and can play at college. And again, this is a very highly coveted quarterback. Then you have Caleb Downs. Caleb Downs is the best safety in the country. You're talking about a safety that, rivals the likes of Minkah Fitzpatrick and Derwin James and those elite level talents at the pro and college levels. And this is a guy that can cover. This is a guy who has great form tackling, a guy that's mature beyond his years, one of the best leaders in college football, and as a punt returner is also really dynamic, so can really impact the game in so many different ways for Ohio State. They've never, from the safety position, I know that they've had really good, I guess Malik Hooker was a very good safety in college, and, Marshawn Lattimore, they've had really, solid corners and safeties, but this just adds to Ohio State. And then, getting Will Howard's a solid quarterback. Really excited to see also if Brian Hartline, how these wide receivers develop. But Bill Obrien and Ryan Day, that is going to be the question. How will these two get along, Bill Obrien and Ryan Day? How explosive can the passing game be? And then you also have Quinshon Judkins, the running back from Ole Miss. So this is a year where you look at the Big Ten Conference and Michigan right now losing their quarterback, losing their coach. Penn State could be good. Penn State adds Julian Fleming. They don't have the wide receivers that Ohio State has, but Andy Kotelnicki could be the offensive coordinator that unlocks Drew Aller. So you got to worry about them in the Big Ten. You got to worry about Oregon. Oregon's coming in there, great recruiting class. Dylan Gabriel at quarterback, Elijah Rushing and Mateo Yu at defensive ends. Okay, guys in the middle of that defense that can really make plays. All right, and tremendous wide receiver talent like Evan Stewart and such. So it's going to be a crazy Big Ten conference. That's all I'm going to say. But honestly, if it was between Aaron Noland could be on the move, because if you're Aaron Noland, you look and you have Devin Brown, Lincoln Kienholz, Will Howard's going to play this year, and now Julian Sayin. So Aaron Noland is somebody that Georgia also lost their quarterback. They also lost Dylan Raiola in this process. I think Aaron Noland would be a very good quarterback at the University of Georgia. I think Aaron Noland, I guess Auburn has Walker White that they're really excited about. Florida has a quarterback. Miami and Florida State, though, they could use younger quarterbacks. They could use, quarterbacks that are young. we're going to have to see what happens with Air Noland and see, where he's interested in maybe going and playing college ball, potentially even Penn State. Drew Aller plays a couple of more years, and then it's really his show. But it'll be competition, and I'm sure that Air Noland has good relationships with the coaches, might be getting some NIL, but this is a carousel. And with Nick Saban retiring, you can understand why Julian Sayin, he was very close to Tommy Rees, very close to Nick Saban. You can understand why he made this decision. But getting Caleb Downs was so shocking. It was 95% likely he was going to go to Georgia. But I'm telling you guys that Ohio State, whether it's the NIL program or whether it's the coaching and everything, they are just surging incredibly late in this process. They look like they were dead in the water a little bit, in the middle of the transfer portal cycle. But the way that they've closed this month with Judkins, Caleb Downs, Will Howard, Julian Sayin, they might be looking at this other player, French, who's a other defensive end. It's pretty wild to see all of these players, come to fruition for the Buckeyes.